Good morning, Malta and Gozo, and welcome to another episode of Lovin Daily. My name is John Potswadi. Today I'm joined by Yannick Pach, and we have 5 exciting stories for you today. Malta residents are up in arms over a controversial marina plan. Experts are warning that Malta should be treating its farming land like a desert. University of Malta's new accommodation will welcome students next year, but it comes with a hefty price tag. Some Valletta shops and restaurants are suffering daily power cuts still for the 3rd summer in a row, and a shark appeared in Maltese waters near Filfla yesterday.
So, for our first story, Malta residents are up in arms over plans for a yacht marina to be built in the locality's creek. On Friday, Transport Malta issued a call for proposals for the construction of the marina, much to the surprise and outrage of many residents living in the area. An image accompanying the tender document shows that the planned marina will take up quite a bit of the bay. And the plans have been condemned by residents, activists, as well as the PN and the Green Party. In fact, at a press conference on Saturday, the PN said it was unacceptable for such a development to take place without a proper impact assessment and without any proper consultation with residents. In fact, they called plans rushed and disproportionate. A petition has also been launched by residents against the project, while the locality's local council is set to be holding an urgent meeting about the plans this week. Residents have argued that the marina would suffocate the bay and will also have a negative impact on Posidonia meadows in the area, as well as the Ilmalu salt marsh, which is a Natura 2000 site, which is just at the end of the bay. Reacting to the outrage, Transport Malta yesterday said that plans were still in their early stages, and they also pointed out that they were a continuation of the 2006 local plans, in which the marina, the bay was earmarked for a marina. That being said, just because they were earmarked for a marina in 2006 doesn't mean that residents aren't right to be outraged at the lack of consultation.
Absolutely. In fact, it seems like a number of controversial projects have been haunting the locality for quite some time now. We've heard of the marina, and at one point it was the water polo club pitch that was being proposed. There was also an apartment complex at the former Jeremiah Palace Hotel and the American University of Malta campus at Zone Or. So it seems like Malta have had pretty rough, or the residents have had it pretty rough, and it's good to see that they are, kind of standing up for it. But like you said, just because it was approved in 2006 doesn't mean it's necessarily what's needed now in 15 years later. So definitely supporting them for standing up for what they believe in. Moving on to our second story, and now still concerning the incredible heat that's affected Malta this summer, which I think we're all starting to take a bit more seriously now that we're seeing in places like Sicily, for example, it was a record 48 degrees Celsius. Now experts here, environmental expert and agricultural consultant Emin Vella, is warning that Malta should treat its farming land as if it's a desert, saying we should if they adapt our methods, our farming methods and whatnot, by imitating what is being done in arid countries like Israel. And the fact that Malta over winter, it's quite a green place, but obviously this summer heat and the global warming and the climate change and stuff is really making our land super dry. In fact, we saw it over the past few weeks when in Jar, where there was the need for human intervention to revive some wilting trees. Over 100,000 litres of water were used. We've had fires break out in the island. Not just Malta, around the whole world is experiencing these incredible hot climates and fires and outbreaks. And clearly the world is changing and our climate is changing, and it's now, when experts are saying that we need to start treating our land as if it's desert, saying that it's literally no use as it is at the moment, little to no profit for farmers in the state it is. It's quite a worrying headline to read for the Mediterranean island. Vela suggested that the only kind of best shot we have at kind of reviving our landscape or rejuvenating our environment is really to kind of make Malta greener by attracting more moisture to the island. He said that there's a need as well for underground reservoirs in kind of strategic locations around the island, the increased funding of new water, and the creation of a guidebook to plants outlining the maintenance of indigenous trees and shrubs that require less water. I think one point to take away from this is like I mentioned before, that climate change is real.
Yeah.
Our environment, our natural resources, and our land is changing because of these increasing temperatures, and it's having a real impact on not just farming community, but everyone in general. I mean, I think we all feel these past few weeks is how hot it has been.
And he's right. I mean, it makes no sense to cling to methods used in the past if they are becoming increasingly more difficult to use. So I totally, from little I know, I agree with what he's saying, and it's something I think we're going to have to look into more and more as time goes on.
Absolutely.
So on to our next story. The University of Malta's new campus hub is set to start welcoming new students on the 1st January 2020, though from the looks of it, most students will struggle to afford accommodation there. The student accommodation hub is situated right next door to the university and includes many features such as a pool, a green area, fully equipped gym. It's clearly a very pleasant place to live, but it doesn't come cheap. The most expensive room is €808 a month for the second academic semester. That's more than the price of a 2-bedroom apartment in the same neighborhood. The cheapest option is a shared room in a cluster apartment, which will set you back €488 if you plan on staying for the entire academic year. The prices vary depending on the length of one's stay, though they have brought about a discussion about whether they are too expensive. On the one hand, some argue that it's way too expensive for a student to be able to afford. On the other hand, you could argue that they reflect the cost of property in Malta and are to some extent comparable to other universities abroad.
Yeah, obviously you got to take into consideration the inflated cost of property in Malta here, which isn't kind of reflected with students. Obviously, they are students and stuff, so you'd expect that the prices are a little more generous towards students. I'm not a student myself, so I'm not, or at least a student in Malta at the moment, so I'm not fully aware of how much this impacts them, but it seems like it is, at €808, at least when you compare it to another 2-bedroom apartment. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense to stay at the university accommodation when you can just go elsewhere for cheaper. And it's not like Malta's a big island where it's hard to commute back to and from uni. So we'll just see how it's taken by students when it actually comes into when they actually move in next year. And now a number of Valletta shops and restaurants are still suffering from daily power cuts. And I won't say for the third summer in a row, but this seems to be never ending in Malta, where not just shops and restaurants are suffering from power cuts, but residents and every year, localities are just suffering from power cuts. At least 2 popular restaurants in Valletta, Trabasciu and Gio Battaglia are still suffering from daily power cuts, sometimes from 12 p.m. to 2 a.m. Now, I don't have to explain to you what this means for a restaurant when you have a daily power cuts and you have guests and frozen food and your stove and whatnot. Electricity is vital for a restaurant to operate, and when you have daily power cuts, it ruins the business. It also damages, equipment and electricity equipment and stuff. It seems to be the fact that both these restaurants are on the same substation in Valletta, so it seems to be a problem on that line. But obviously, we'll take into consideration the fact that these daily power cuts come after restaurants and bars and snack bars and stuff have been pretty much shut down for the best part of a year or so with lockdowns and whatnot. So right now, they really can't afford to take more hits than they already have, and for them to be suffering daily power cuts where, in fact, I was at Trabasciu over the weekend and you had to leave by a certain time because they were going to have a power cut. So it really impacts their business and they can't do anything about it. But again, we saw because of the heat in the past few weeks as well that several localities and in Malta couldn't keep up with the demand for electricity, and we've had power cuts all over the island. I mean, for 2021 as a modern country like this, to have daily power cuts, I just find this is baffling.
No, and I mean, as you said, many restaurants have had to close for large stretches of the year. The fact that you not only have to close and not welcome guests, but probably even throw away stock if it's gone bad is just unacceptable, especially considering that, I mean, it's clearly a problem with the substation. I can't see why it can't be fixed.
Third summer in a row.
Third summer in a row. On to our final story. A fisherman out on his boat yesterday morning came across a relatively rare sight for Maltese waters. Came across a shark. Footage posted to social media by the fisherman himself. The shark can be seen swimming up to the man's boat and swimming around it quite casually. It was spotted just off the island of Filfla, off the coast of Dingley on the island's west coast. White sharks are known to breed, or at least are said to breed in the vicinity of the small island, though it's not every day that one is seen. Comments to the state broadcaster, the fisherman said it was only the second time in his life that he had ever seen a shark up close. The shark was believed to be a blue shark. The fisherman said he was about 3 miles off Filfla and 7 miles off the coast of Malta. Shark sightings in Malta are relatively rare, though there was outrage a few months back after a number of dead shark bodies as well as moray eels were found mutilated at the bottom of St. Paul's Bay.
Yeah, I think like a lot of people, as soon as I read the story, I kind of Googled blue shark, and it's like what's the potential danger to humans and stuff, and thankfully it's very rare. I think between the past 500, 600 years, there have been like 13 known incidences of blue sharks attacking humans, and like 4 of them were fatal. I don't think anyone's even died from them. So it's not nothing to fear. You can still go swimming and whatnot, but obviously respect Mother Nature and the shark and whatnot. And it's amazing to see the fact that we do have blue sharks swimming around Filfla. I think it's absolutely incredible. With that being said, this brings us to the end of today's episode. Thanks for tuning in, and have a day full of lovin'.